It's time for Waking Up with Wesley. Today's forecast and weather-wide discussion with WLOX First Alert Weather's senior meteorologist, Wesley Williams.
Hello there, South Mississippi, and thank you for waking up with Wesley. I'm senior meteorologist Wesley Williams. So we are still in a chilly week here, but I'm trying to keep it positive, right? And one plus about today is that there are actually many pluses about today on this map. You can see all of those pluses indicating the temperature has actually risen over the last 24 hours. So that's, I think, a trend that is kind of pointed in the right direction, right? I mean, we certainly don't want to be getting colder. So we're doing the opposite of that. And that is kind of the trend here for the next few days, just not getting colder, but instead maybe going up a little bit. The problem is we were so far down that even to go up still is cold. So yeah, that's look at those actual reported temperatures in South Mississippi. We can make that a little bit larger on your screen so you can see all of those numbers. Let's see, where's the coldest spot on the map? That would be maybe this 28 here near the Alabama line east of Moss Point. Earlier this morning it was colder, but now during the 8 o'clock hour temperatures have come up from earlier this morning. And like I said, this trend is going to continue by this afternoon. I think it'll be kind of comfortably, a bit more comfortable with the winter chill that we're expecting. Last couple of days, we haven't managed to really climb above 50, but today we're actually forecasting some 50s for highs. Later in this video, we will address the big cold elephant in the room, the Arctic blast coming in for this weekend. I think the chances are increasing for us to be put underneath an extreme cold warning for this weekend in South Mississippi, just like the last one we had earlier this week. It is looking like all the ingredients are coming together for us to see a repeat of extreme cold locally. For today, we actually have some clouds that have been moving in from the north. And if you look closely, the First Alert radar was tracking a few snow flurries. We were watching this during GMM, during Good Morning Mississippi earlier today. And the snow flurries, they kind of dried out. You really reveal what's going on when you look at the water vapor channel. When we switch the satellite over to water vapor, this shows where the moisture and the drier air is. And you can really just see this huge push of drier air that's coming in from the north and west. So with that drier air coming in with the high pressure, the dry high pressure, that really kind of makes it difficult for those snow flurries to hold together. If you did see some snow flurries, maybe in George County, Stone County, or places north of that, you can, drop a comment. I know we're live in a bunch of places with this video. If you're watching it in a place where you can comment, including Facebook, I might be able to see that comment if you did see some of those snow flurries this morning. But yeah, it didn't really materialize, and I think that's why we're keeping our precipitation chances at 0 here as we go through our Wednesday. Whatever clouds we might have this morning, they're expected to clear by the afternoon as that drier air comes in and kind of eats away at those clouds. And we're just left with a beautiful day here for Wednesday. I know that it is still chilly compared to normal, but I think, relatively speaking, it's going to be one of the nicer days that we've had in recent time. And if you have the luxury to take advantage of that, I strongly recommend spending some time outside today, soaking up the sun, and enjoying a day that's not blasting you with strong wind and very cold air. It's just kind of a little on the chilly side. Now, tonight, are we going to freeze again? And the answer is yeah. We will drop to 32 or colder everywhere in South Mississippi. So that means you for sure have to protect people, pets, and plants. Will you have to protect pipes? Well, if you live in a coastal location, maybe not. We're not really forecasting temperatures for most of the coast to drop into the middle 20s. But if you do live in an inland area, which is somewhere near or north of Interstate 10, that will be where you probably do want to make sure you are running that pencil-thin stream of water trickling overnight tonight. Do it before bed, and then once the temperatures actually hit the mid-20s early Thursday, your pipes will already be having that water running through them, and that helps them to not freeze over when we get to that freezing temperature early Thursday morning. So some spots I do think we'll have to consider the potential for protecting pipes inland. But other than that, we're all protecting people and pets and plants before bed tonight, no matter where you are in South Mississippi. Now, here's the pattern for now. Notice where the heart of the cold is on Wednesday. It's located up here to our north. Areas Chicago, Cincinnati, New York City, Boston, they are seeing the core of the cold. We actually have a high pressure located close to us, an upper high, and you can notice where those are depending on which way the wind is circulating. Wind circulates clockwise around a high, so of course it doesn't take long to find the clockwise circulation right here over parts of Texas. So right there is where we have an upper high situated, and that is what's located off to our west. It's what's going to keep our weather not as cold. An upper high kind of pushes the jet stream up to the north, so it doesn't come diving down south. Problem is that high is not going to stay there forever, and by the time we get to this weekend, we will see all of this cold air kind of unlocked right out of the Arctic and rolling right down toward the coast. So when we play this out, you can see how that plays out right down to our coast with the core of the cold right over parts of Mississippi and Alabama. So we're not going to have Mississippi cold this weekend. We're going to have New York State cold. We're going to have Michigan cold in Mississippi on the coast. So that's what makes this very unusual for our local area. You know, if you're a visitor or you've just moved here from the north, Saturday, you're going to say big deal. But if you're a person who hasn't traveled much for your life and you just kind of stayed on the Mississippi coast your whole life, Saturday is going to be a big deal for you. This is unusual for our region to see this type of cold. What we really have going on too, remember I said wind circulates clockwise around a high pressure. Well, it does the opposite. Low pressure has counterclockwise circulation. And we can see on this map the counterclockwise wind circulation right here offshore of the Carolina coast. What we have going on there on Saturday is a developing nor'easter, which is a winter storm system that generally impacts the northeast part of the country with strong wind and at times some precipitation. And so the stronger that low pressure system gets off the east coast, that's going to really make for a stronger and stronger pull down of the north wind on the backside of that circulation. So if there's a weak nor'easter over there, then maybe our weekend won't be as cold as expected. But right now, it's expected to be a pretty strong and powerful low pressure system. I've been seeing forecasts of near hurricane force winds in coastal North Carolina this weekend. So that's a powerful hurricane force low pressure system. And that means the current expectation is for it to really be able to get a good grab on all of this cold air and shove it down southward from the northern part of the country down toward the coast. So that's why our confidence is really growing on that kind of setup to have a very dramatic drop in temperature this weekend. We're finding, like I said, with the upper ridge of high pressure for now, we don't get any big cool downs on Wednesday or Thursday or Friday. It's still cooler than normal, but it's not any kind of blast of cold air until we get to Friday p.m. and we begin to see all that Arctic air moving in. Technically, there will be a frontal passage with this, but it's kind of a very complex and complicated setup. The bottom line is cold Arctic air comes down to the Gulf Coast, and by the time we get to Saturday, the high will only be 37 degrees. Yeah, a high in the middle 30s. Do the math. If your normal high is 62 and we're forecasting a 37, you know, it's easily more than 10 degrees colder than normal. It's more than 20 degrees colder than normal. I guess it's about 20 to 25 degrees colder than normal for Saturday's high temperature. So get ready to hear a lot of people say, they didn't say it would get this cold. They're also going to say, where did all this cold and wind come from when we get to Saturday? There's going to be a lot of that going on. But not for you, right? Because you are staying ahead of the game. You're watching the forecasts here. You're being informed so that you will not be confused when Saturday is a very unusually cold day for South Mississippi. And might I ask you, do old pal Wes a favor, and if you know friends and family that don't always watch the weather, Well, you're the weather watcher now, and it's your job, or maybe it's not your job, but do me a favor, if you will, and just let them know. Let the people you love in your life know how cold it's going to be on Saturday. How cold will it be? Look at this map, or look at this graphic and see for yourself. The wind chill numbers are likely going to drop into the single numbers on Saturday morning. We kind of had a close brush with that. I think it was literally yesterday morning. Some spots came close to the single numbers for wind chill. So that's going to be another thing that we have to put up with. And, you know, at least there's no school, so you don't have to worry about school getting canceled because there's no school to cancel on Saturday. But there are some outdoor events and activities. I mean, hello, it's Mardi Gras season. Laissez les bon temps rouler. And one of the parades running will be the Ocean Springs Elks Club, at least as of last check, they are still running, at 1 p.m. on Saturday in Ocean Springs. And this gives you an idea of what to expect if you plan to participate or attend that event. It's dry, that's good news. It's sunny, that's good news. And then there's the not so good news. It's cold, very cold, frigid cold for South Mississippi. When they start rolling at 1, the temperature will be 35 degrees. But like I just mentioned, it's going to be windy. So 35 degrees plus a 20-mile-per-hour wind equals a wind chill in the 20s during the day. It's weird to be that cold during the day. During the morning, during the night, I think we're kind of used to that. But during the day, to have a wind chill in the middle 20s, very unusual. And to the people who are not paying attention, they will be caught off guard. And it's one thing to get caught off guard by weather that's kind of like inconvenient, but it's another thing to get caught off guard by weather that could potentially be dangerous. And that's my concern. I'm really just concerned for the safety of our viewers, of our residents, our neighbors here in South Mississippi. I just want the word to be getting out that we're going to be experiencing what I will call dangerously cold weather. It's dangerous if you stand outside at a parade in short sleeves and pants, or short sleeves in a light jacket and pants, and you stand outside for 2 or 3 hours in a parade. You are going to have a problem. You're going to lose feeling in your hands. You're going to be approaching frostbite. You might be approaching hypothermia. So if you're not actually preparing for this, that's where the danger comes in. But if you prepare, if you cover all exposed skin, if you wear layers, you wear a hat to protect your head, gloves to protect your hands, boots to protect your feet, your ankles, a scarf to protect your neck, and of course a pretty heavy coat, then you might be able to make it through Saturday. Any outdoor activities that you're spending hours at a time exposed to, you might be able to be fine. You really have to cover the exposed skin when you have the wind blowing as strong as it will be on Saturday, combined with as cold as those temperatures will be on Saturday. I'm focusing on Saturday, not because I hate Sunday, but because Saturday is likely going to be the worst day because it's the windiest day. Sunday's chilly too, but at least it won't be as windy, so that makes the daylight hours on Sunday much more manageable. 45 with less wind, much more manageable, much safer than 37 with tons of wind. Now, that's your daylight hours, right? You, of course, have some stuff happening in the overnight hours. Oh, and by the way, I see your comment on the Facebook version of this video. Thanks, Christian said they will definitely let some people know. I appreciate that. Thanks for doing old pal Wes a solid. But yeah, you can see the morning temperature there. We're going to have to wrap our pipes. I mean, at least I'm not unwrapping my pipes. But if you haven't done it yet, you might want to consider doing that for Friday night, Saturday morning. You're going to need to run that pencil-thin stream of water trickling overnight, Friday night and Saturday morning. We're looking at lows in the 20s on Saturday morning, and that's that time on Saturday morning when the wind chill could fall into the lower teens and single numbers, because 24 plus wind equals a wind chill of like 11. 37 plus wind equals a wind chill of like 24. And then we get to Sunday morning. That's the coldest number on this whole 7-day forecast. So another pipe bursting freeze for you Sunday morning. Everyone will need to protect pipes in addition to protecting people, pets, and plants. And then we kind of get out of this. There's Groundhog Day on Monday. What's old Punxsutawney Phil gonna say? Is he gonna call for an early spring? That'd be nice to help us thaw out all this winter cold. It looks like the temperatures, at least initially, they do appear that they're going to be on an upward trajectory as we go to the early part of next week. So maybe there will be an early spring, or at least the lack of another round of cold winter air. So we'll see what happens next Monday. It's not my call, it's the groundhog's call. So no pressure to me. But everyone loves to hear what that rodent's going to predict. So anyway, that'll pretty much do it for this edition of Waking Up with Wesley. Thank y'all so much for watching. And of course, we'll continue to bring you updates on any changes to the forecast. But for now, looks like the chances are increasing for an extreme cold warning to be issued for South Mississippi for this weekend. So stay tuned for updates from the First Alert Weather Team on that and more as we approach that time frame in the coming days.
Thank you for watching Waking Up with Wesley with WLOX First Alert Weather Senior Meteorologist Wesley Williams.